discussion of equanimity. And I thought, wow, we're almost at the spring equinox. How appropriate to be talking about equanimity, at least in my corner of the world. 5 a.m. is the moment of the equinox, the balancing of night and day when they're fairly equal, when the earth is neither tilted towards nor away from the sun, and all is in balance, right? How perfect, how perfect. So let me just get my self set up here. And let me, my fingers just aren't working to hit the right keys this morning. There we go. Yay. So talking a bit about making equanimity manageable. And certainly you don't need me to tell you, remind us that we are living in profoundly difficult times. But they are the times that we have. So what do we do with these times, with our life during these times, when it seems, as Catherine and others have said, almost an impossibility to maintain some sense of balance, of equanimity? However, to paraphrase the words of the Buddha, you can cultivate equanimity. If it were not possible, I would not ask you to do it. If this cultivation of equanimity would bring harm and suffering, I would not ask you to cultivate it. But as the cultivation of equanimity brings benefit and happiness, therefore I say, cultivate equanimity. And what we can appreciate is that we're already doing this in many ways. As people spoke to and shared with us last Thursday in our discussion session, we are balancing the challenge of living in these times with just living our daily lives. We do get up every morning. We do manage to brush our teeth, to shower, to feed ourselves, to do our jobs, to take care of our chores, to take care of our families, ourselves. And we need to give ourselves credit for these small acts of equanimity, of maintaining some semblance of balance in challenging times. We are doing amazing already in so many ordinary ways. We can recognize the teachers and the bodhisattvas around us. One of my bodhisattvas is my little niece Eva, who's now 7. Just the other day, she showed me an example of how to cultivate equanimity in everyday life. We were playing outside on a very rare 80-degree March day in northeastern Ohio. After our basketball and our baseball games, we were doing something a bit quieter and less energetic. She found a large bag full of red plastic cups, and she wanted to build a wall with them. So let me do it. Let's see if I can do a little bit of show and tell here. Okay, so here's how you build a wall with cups. You put the cups right next to each other, like so, and then you build the next level. And as you can tell, it's a little wobbly. But that gives you the idea. It's kind of a pyramid-shaped wall. And so we got started and set out several mini cups, 14, 15 on the first row, and then the second row, and then the third row, and then the fourth row, and there was just the slightest of breezes. And by the time we got to the fifth row, that little breeze was just enough to blow it all over. And so we started again, building the wall. And then the breeze came along and blew it over. And she was at first annoyed and then frustrated. And then by the fifth or so time we were building the wall and it got knocked over by the gentle wind, she was almost in tears. And I said, not, oh, this is impermanence. I didn't think that would be a skillful response to a 7-year-old. I said, oh, sweetheart, the wind, even though it's very gentle, keeps blowing over our wall. And then she had a great idea. She said, well, let's go inside. Let's go someplace where it's easier. What brilliance, what wisdom from a 7-year-old. Let's find a more conducive space to build our wall. Let's not keep setting ourselves up to have our structure crash in on us because it's too unsteady, too new yet, too fragile, too vulnerable to withstand this breeze, no matter how gentle it is. So we begin practicing and cultivating equanimity. As we do so, we need to protect our fragile structure that we're building. Appreciate that there are times when even the gentlest breeze can knock us off balance. This is why we tend to our holding environment, both external and internal, cultivating it, shoring it up, building and rebuilding. We create a place where we can come in from the winds of the world when those worldly winds are gusting all around us. A place where our fragile structure of equanimity can begin to stabilize and strengthen. And another activity, a way I've talked about equanimity before, is my yoga practice. And I really like the metaphor of the balance postures because it's really helpful for me to have a concrete metaphor reminding me of what my embodied experience of equanimity feels like. And I don't think I have ever felt perfectly balanced in my yoga practice. My balance as a felt experience includes a lot of wobbliness. The leg I'm standing and balancing on quivering and shaking as I maintain balance, my need for my muscles to adjust and readjust continuously, and at times a need to hold on to a wall or a chair to stay steady. And I remembered a yoga class I had some years ago. The instructor had us doing, for me, a challenging movement. Stand on your left foot, and I won't try to show this to you. Stand on your left foot, lift up your right foot in front of you, and lean slightly back. Then, without touching the floor, if you can, move your right leg behind you and move your upper body forward. And then do it again. Right foot forward, body back, and as I immediately tumbled out of this balance and saw others around me tumbling, realizing this is really difficult. Then our instructor said, now stand close together and let's make a circle and just put your arm around the shoulders of the person next to you. And again, stand on your left foot, right foot forward, right foot back, kind of like the yoga version of the hokey pokey. But we did it, and it was so much easier to maintain balance, supported by the people around me. And I could feel my mind wanting to veer off into resistance, as Catherine talked about, saying, well, this doesn't really count. You're not doing it all by yourself. You're getting help. But it was so joyful and delightful and uplifting in being able to maintain our collective balance. I was able to put aside my little Lori desire to cling to my conditioned self-identification. And I could feel the caring and the love that the group shared and the wisdom gained by realizing we can do this together. We can value all of us along with each of us. We can support each other to be balanced and at ease. We do this when we come here to our daily sit, to our Sangha. This is a skillful means to support our equanimity. Notice and make much of that. This is moving in the direction of steadiness and stability, wisdom and caring equanimity. And we feel the safety of the holding arms of our practice when we come together and support ourselves and each other. We are making equanimity manageable in ways that we may not always notice because they may not seem heroic, in ways that we may discount by thinking it only counts if I do it all by myself or under the hardest conditions, or that I do it perfectly. And as Catherine mentioned, let's not set our expectations too high. I'm not going to expect myself to be perfectly equanimous while I'm reading or listening to the news of the day, or facing the most difficult situations or feelings in my life. But I can hold my feelings a bit more kindly, a bit more gently, and bring as much balance into my life as I can with compassion, holding my rattled mind, my quivering heart, my shaking body kindly and tenderly. I can cultivate a less windy environment, shoring up and reinforcing my holding environment, my foundation of mindfulness, calmness, calmness to help me stabilize. I can use the precious support of others, my Sangha mates and the bodhisattvas in my life, and feel our arms steady and support each other. And in cultivating that inner balance, my fledgling equanimity, I can move out into the world with kinder eyes and an open heart, so that I can notice that regardless of what's happening in the world, the daffodils are still beginning to sprout. The mosses and grasses are beginning to turn a brighter shade of green. The sun is still warming the earth, and the sap is still flowing up the trunks of trees. That doesn't mean all is well with the world, far from it. But it means that the world, with all of its joys and sorrows, is still abiding. And I am still abiding in the world. So here we are. We can do this. Let's abide to practice and practice together. Thank you so much for your kind attention. And let's do this. Let's abide in our bodies. Stretching, moving, balancing right and left, back and front. Twisting, softening, listening to the needs of the body. appreciating that this is how we bring equanimity, balance into our physical being, feeling the support and joyfulness of that, and inviting the breath to rest and balance in the body. In breath, balancing with out breath. Releasing the reins of control and allowing breath to flow naturally, gently. A gentle breeze, soothing and comforting our inner being. Breathing in energy, breathing out the unnecessary, the unskillful. Releasing what we don't need in this moment and just setting it aside. And perhaps gently moving backwards and forwards, right to left, circling around and coming into your place of balance in this moment. Eyes closed or gently gazing open. Feeling into a settled balance. Into the vicinity of caring attention, of balanced heart mind. And when the mind veers off, wobbles away into distraction or resistance, gently, kindly invite it back to balancing in the body, breathing. And in the remaining 5 minutes of this practice, perhaps dropping in a bit of gratitude for holding and being held by the collective balance of our Sangha.